and welcome back to Plannercraft. I'm Natalie, and today I'm going to be doing a bit of work with a foil shield and the paper piercing kit. So, while my machine is still playing up, do you want to do hellos and things, Ian?
I will when people say, oh, good morning, Deb. First up. Morning, Carol.
Do say hi and let us know that you're watching. Meanwhile, I'm going to go and throw my scanning cut out the window. Because it's playing up. Let's try that again, shall we?
Morning, Carol, and morning, Joyce. And Corinne's just had a delivery.
Yay! So hopefully the next batch should be arriving with people today, shouldn't it?
It should, yes. So Carol, we should be having yours this morning. Thea, yours should be arriving today. And Nikki, yours should be arriving this morning too.
I think you might have to resend it. Oh no, it's done it this time. Finally. There you go. Sorted itself out. Okay, so do you want to go to close cam? So I have 3 designs that are all using a 5x5 inch square, which you will find on plate 5. Am I right, Ian?
Yes, plate 5.
Yes. So we've got some bits that are going to draw, some bits that we're going to foil, and a few more bits that are going to be paper piercing. So when we want to work like this with the paper piercing kit, what you are going to want to do in all likelihood, especially if you're working on a lighter card, is to do your cutting and drawing and foiling first, then transfer your panels to your paper piercing mat. Now if you're working with dark card, you are going to want to work the other way around. So you're going to paper pierce first and then bring it onto your lighter coloured mat to do your cutting and everything else, because it's going to be easier for you to line up. Okay, so dark card, think dark mat first, light card, think light mat first.
Morning Tracy and morning Sandra.
And if you have any questions at any point, don't be afraid to ask. So the design was all set up in canvas, and the paper piercing is just using the 6-point star that you can find towards the bottom of the basic shapes. And the font, go on in, you'll have to check for me. I know it starts with an A.
You just use the basic one, did you?
No. Just click on it, some of the text. And it should tell you. You're in the group at the moment, Ian. Click on the text. Aris
Black.
So I'm going to load my cutting mat in with my card. It's going to have one of those days today, isn't it? You know what it is? I was using this at the vet yesterday, so it hasn't forgiven me yet. There we go. So first of all, you would want to do your cutting. So that's literally going to go just around the outside of these boxes. Now if your mat is slightly lower tack, then what you might want to do is do it the other way around. So you do your drawing, your foiling first. It's up to you, and you know your mat. So I think mine can probably cope. So probably, given it's one of those days, you just wait for the, oh no, didn't like that. So when we go to cut, you're going to have the X of one designed cutting, because I want to back that with some contrasting paper or card, and then the other 2 panels are just going to cut normally. So each of the panels is grouped individually, so I can move them around.
We have a look on Amazon, Joyce. It's sometimes on there.
Oh, the print to cut. Joyce, message me after and I'll go a bit more into depth with the print to cut because, well, yeah. There's other ways of doing it that don't require you buying a code.
And evening, Tracy Christina. And she's looked out. Okay.
Print to cut is one of those funny ones where it's not even available to buy in the States. It was done just purely for us over here. Now, I'm just going to check that's all cut. So that's a good start. Let's press that back down. And now before we go too far, we can do our drawing next. Now the plan is that some of it will be foiled, at which point Ian's going to have to do a bit of work in canvas to show you.
Right.
But because it's grouped. So if you send something grouped, then you end up having to ungroup it in canvas when you want to do things like just 4 sections.
Morning, Dale.
We're only going to do bits of it. So let's go and what colour should we go for?
Go Christmas red.
Christmas red. Okay.
They're all Christmassy.
Oh, red and glittery. What could be better? Okay. And I'm going to grab my pen holder.
Still on overhead at the moment. Not on overhead, sorry. The close up. Do you want me to swap to
Yeah.
overhead for me?
Didn't want to come off. So I'm just going to slide that in. Loosen that off, it's a bit tight. Don't try and force it. So through to the bottom. And tighten up. Like so.
Give you a quick squirrel because you may pick up some.
Yeah, I might have a different colour. Yay! New pen too. Okay, so I'm going to pop that into the carriage. Okay, so now I can go to draw. And you're going to see that it's going to want to draw everything. Now if at this point you want to take sections out, you can do. If you want to stop it filling because you're going to fill with that foil later, you can also do that too. So I'm going to go back, edit, object edit, and we can turn our fill off. And it's going to automatically take that fill out. We can do the same on this one. Okay. So now we can go okay. Okay.
Speak up a bit because Baby Bella's snoring without me.
Oh, but I don't want to wake Baby Bella up, do I? You just turn me up, Carol, and I won't shout. Let sleeping dogs lie. Okay, so now we've got our draw with just our outline. And we can tell it to start. It's going to say attach appropriate holder because we're using the 3D Fun Prints one rather than the Brother one. Just go OK and start. Off it goes.
Can you, while that's doing that, can you briefly tell Deb what you're doing, because she had a phone call just as you said hello, so she doesn't know what we're up to.
Oh dear. So what we are doing is we're doing a project where we've got 3 of this, more or less the same topper. We've used the 5-inch square so that we can use our foil shield, and I've cut out the outside panel for the design as well as 1 letter. So basically it's going to be the same design, but they're all going to be slightly different. I might just get it to go round again, just because it's, even though I squiggled it, it's still a bit hit and miss on that first word.
Thank you.
That's okay. So what I'm going to do next is I'm actually going to do the paper piercing next. So rather than getting bogged down by foil at this point, I'm going to go and do the paper piercing. Once it's gone round, once more with a pen. Yeah, you can't really see unless you angle the camera in. So, you can see that we've missed a few bits just here, hopefully. That hasn't gone too far. So, rather than it just leaving it there, we're going to let it go round again, just so that we can pick up things like the E in Noel.
Put your pressure up just a little bit.
Yeah. So, I'll put my pressure up to -2, and draw speed 1 is fine. Yeah, well, they're all a bit hit and miss, which is unusual for a doodler. Somebody knows the talking about your sweetie. Okay, so we're nearly there. Louise isn't watching, is she?
How haven't seen you yet.
Okay. Yeah. I haven't got bits missing in my E for starters. So let's put the cap back on my pen. Okay, so at this point we can take it off our cutting mat. Okay. And let's get my metal spatula so I can get that off my mat safely.
Two of them, you still managed to lose one.
Yeah. Okay. So one. What?
Carol just told Tracy that she reinvented herself at the weekend because now Mark 3 should be fun.
Okay. And I'll take the X off while I'm here.
Please explain.
Okay. Well, at the weekend Carol was doing shadow boxes, weren't you, Carol? So I'm just going to put my full shield down there for a minute, and I'm going to bring in my paper piercing mat. So this comes with the paper piercing kit, and it is really sticky. So, now, if you were just doing any old rectangle, you can just use your outside frame, and it's going to help you be able to line it up so it is straight. Which is what I was doing at the weekend. And I'm going to stick that down to my mat. Now we're going to get the insert that matches.
Which is your set 5, but everybody else is set 6.
Yeah,
Your
no,
set
the other
6,
way
everybody
round.
else is set 5, sorry.
Yeah, so for everybody who's had their set, this is plate 5, even though mine says 6. I've ordered a fresh one, haven't I, so we can all be on the same hymn sheet. See what I mean? It's sticky. Extra sticky. Just to get it in. Mine's misbehaving today. Come on. Here we go. You wouldn't think it'd be that tricky. The other day I did this first time, didn't I? This one. Come on.
It's because it's extra sticky, I suppose. It doesn't have that wiggle room like you normally would.
Just to push it in, and yeah. There we go. So again, I'm going to press that down. With that in place, we can then load that into our machine. So I'm going to offer my mat up to my machine. I'm going to load it in. Yeah, it would have complained when it was drawing if not. Okay, so obviously now all of our pieces are now all over the shop. But if you'll notice consistently on our design, we have 3 little snowflakes just here. So what I'm going to do is I only need one of them to work. So I'm going to go back. I'm going to go to edit, and I can delete everything else other than the one. So as usual, The original copy is still up in the cloud, so if I need to pull it down at any point I can do, but I'm going to just work with just those stars there. So you're going to put in your first bit of card into your window. This is where I was trying to stick it down so it didn't slide underneath. Okay, and you're going to pop that in there like so.
Hey, there we go.
Okay, we're also going to need, and we're going to go for the bigger one again. Your paper piercing tool holder and your paper piercing tool. So in this case I'm going for 0.8mm, which means it's going to give us the bolder dots, but you can also do things like stitching with it. So when you're popping this in, you're going to literally slide it in there. Take the cap off. Told you, bad day. Slide it in so that that 0.8 lines up to the brother, like so, and it will slide in. You're then going to tighten up your cap. I'm going to pop that in there. Now at this point we can do our background scan and make sure that everything is where it should be. So we're going to go OK. Okay, I'll do it.
That's it. Close to home. That's it.
And we're going to do background scan.
Sam says she's not seen the piercing kit before. It looks intriguing.
I did a video on unboxing it and using it for the first time, which would be a good one to go back to. It is really good for doing like small details. If you want to do something like a background, allow sort of 45 minutes to an hour for it to do a full background. So we obviously don't need our outside cut line anymore, so I can get rid of that too. And we can move this piece so it lines up with our X, like so.
X marks the spot.
Okay, so then our stars are going to always be in the same place each time it's pricked. Now in terms of what else you can do on this mat, I wouldn't recommend cutting, drawing or foiling on it. Just keep it just for doing your paper piercing because it's got that extra depth. Okay. And I'm just going to zoom in and just double check that I'm lined up. So let's just take it back over this way and down a little bit. That's better. And you can check you're well clear of the edges then as well. So we can go OK, OK, OK. When we go to please select, down the bottom is the pierce option. And it says it's going to take 1 minute. So it's not a very complicated design, this one. Now just be careful when you are putting your tool back into your holder, because obviously it has got an exposed sharp point which you should be able to see. Let's see if I hold it over the wire.
You can see it better with your hand.
Okay.
Yeah,
So just be wary of that. And it is very sharp. So you're going to pop that into your holder as normal, flat bit to the back, and then we can start it going.
Put the YouTube link for the tutorial.
Thanks, Deb. Am I allowed to do a quick sneak peek of what you can do with it in a bit. Do you think? It should be going up later this week, shouldn't it?
I don't know.
I could do a very sneak peek, couldn't I? So, we're going to remove that one and we're going to place our next one in. So again, I'm going to line that up into my slot.
It's where your foil shield comes into its own, really.
Yep.
You don't have to.
Which is cool. Nice and easy. And we can tell it to go again. So no need to do another background scan because nothing is changed because we've got that foil shield there. And we can just say up and up.
Even though it's like it's good bits because it's a prototype one.
Yeah. Mine's the prototype one. Yours will all come all perfectly sized and everything else.
Yeah.
As I said, I've tagged mine on to the end of the current orders, haven't I? So I'll have a nice new one too. Yay! And then my plate 6 will be actually
Plate
5.
Yeah, plate 5.
Vice versa. Okay. So now we can move this one. And you just want to be careful with this one because we've got that cut section. Okay. And we can then do the next one. Benefits of having them all do the same design, you see. Just the wording changes. So if you're doing a lot of book crafting, this is how I recommend that you do it.
Tracy says foil shields came to be the most wanted and needed tool for 21-22, so I hope you've got stacks in stock. They're printed on demand at the moment, Tracy.
Yep,
so.
they're printed on demand and they're currently working on the last batch, is it? At the moment?
Yeah, he's doing the last batch at the moment.
Yeah. So again, we can tell that one to go. So the paper piercing tool you can use as a decoration in and of itself, but what I'm trying to see and to show is that you can actually stitch with it too. So if you like the stitch cards that Jennifer Maguire shows quite a bit in her streams, then you can actually create your own from scratch with your paper piercing tool, which is cool. So the star that I've used here, you can actually turn into snowflakes as well as being a star, or you might want to turn it into a flower. It's just a case of just seeing which stitches you can put where. So that one is now done, and I'm going to give you a very, very sneaky peek. So it's going to be quick, so make sure you're looking. And we're going to go
Really quick and a little slower than that, do you?
a little bit slow.
Really
Okay.
blur.
Tell you what, if I do a close up there,
Oh,
not that close.
there you go, it's focused now. Yeah.
There you go. So something like that you can do with your paper piercing. So that's using the same star design that I've used in today's card, and they're just all stitched different ways. And I'm naughty. Oh, that's funny, Carol. Right, so we're going to unload the mat. Because we want to take our foil shield back off, you're better off doing that on a solid surface. And I'm going to take my piercing tool out. Now what I would say with your piercing tool, just for safety's sake, always take it straight back out and pop its little safety cover back on it. Number one, you don't want to damage the tip because otherwise it's a brand new tool, which we don't want to have to buy. And let's just screw that cap back on so we don't lose the cap either. There we go. So now I can take the foil shield back off here, and we're going to transfer it over to our other mat. So
let me move the camera back.
I'm going to start at the outside frame first.
That is well stuck.
It's very well stuck. Thank you. Many hands make light work. Oh. And you can see the foil shield is actually quite resilient. There we go. So, before you go too far, make sure that you always replace your protective sheet back on top.
That mat is extreme. It is very sticky.
Yeah, very, very sticky, and it's that way because if you were just paper pricking like that, the tendency would be that it would pick the card up. So if you were to do that on like a normal brother mat, you'd find that your card actually lifted off. So this one has to be extra sticky to keep that card on there. So it is important that we keep that stick as much as possible.
Enjoys it lucky, it's a strong foil shield. Yes. Praise there to Andy.
Yes, definitely. He's worked very hard on it.
They have.
Okay.
Excellent.
So going back to our normal cutting mat, now we can put our foil shield back on. So get your logo to your bottom left corner. Doesn't overly matter, no, but it's nice to have it up the right way, especially if you when you've got your new one, because it's got a website across the top too. And then I can pop my plate in like so. Oh, for the day I get a new one. Here we go.
Yours is last on the list at the moment. So.
I know.
Paying customers come first.
Yeah, I'm order number 13. There you go.
Who finds you to watch it and go?
Because I thought, well, you know, nobody wants to be number 13 really, so I'll do that. Okay. So we can go OK, and we can load the mat again. So long as you have your lever up to setting 2, you won't have any problems with using the foil shield at all. So I'm going to go back, and now we've got our different elements that we want to foil. So this is where it's going to become a little bit more complicated, just a little bit. So with this design that's on the mat at the moment, it's going to just write that MAS on the end. Now if you want to do that, you can do. So you can take your design, pop it in, and then foil it. But it may be that you just want to foil just the X, for instance. So if I pop that into my foil shield, and I think I might go for a solid X, and then...
What is the other lever on the right hand side for near the rollers?
It's an unlock mechanism for the roller bar. So the idea being that if you are attaching the roll feeder, then you need to unlock it to be able to get it in, basically. and then relock it. But to be honest, it's a bit more hassle than it's worth.
Yeah, isn't it? Also, if you attaching the
yeah, the roll feeder.
The roll feeder, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Sorry. I didn't catch that bit.
Okay. So next what we need is some foil.
What colour would you like?
I'm going to go red.
Red again.
Red.
Which red? The sparkly red?
Sparkly red, rather than the
red.
other red. Yeah, the red I'm allowed to use. You're not going to need that much of it actually. So let's get my slice. Slice. I know you're there. Where's it gone? I can see it. There you go. Hold that for me, Ian. Just so I can get my ruler underneath.
Don't forget to have your quill heating up. Is there a few weeks lead time from orders for the show? Yeah, it still takes, unfortunately, depending on...
We're doing them in batches of 4, aren't we?
Yeah, doing them in batches of 4, and they take roughly about a week to get the 4 for us. As long as there's no issues with the printer.
Yeah, they've got one poorly printer at the moment, haven't they? Which is slowing things down a little.
Once we get down the initial list, it should only take a couple of days to get one done.
Come on.
But the full set takes roughly 17 hours per kit to print. So for it all to be printed once takes roughly 17 hours at the moment.
Okay. And I bet I haven't done that quite big enough. Oh, it's not far off, is it?
It's near enough. It's going to be
Should I
close
go for
on the
that?
edge tape.
Yeah. So given this a small piece, I can probably get away with just doing the sides, to be honest. So let's get me tape. Ooh. So this is the one time that I would say, yes, use tape in your machine. I'm just going to use some of this one, I think.
Asking family for birthday present, nothing to do with that. Yeah, I mean, like I said, because we had a run of 12 at the first orders. I said the last set of those are now going home, hopefully be in post.
And we are going to offer it to one of the local
Shops as well.
shops, so we will probably end up having some done in advance at the end, so which will be cool. So I've just detacked my masking tape so it doesn't damage the front of my card, because nobody wants that. And my masking tape is particularly strong. We ordered low tack tape. We definitely didn't get low tack tape, so I'm just gonna.
Their definition of low tack and our definition of low tack are two very different things.
Yeah.
Rudolph red. Yeah, it is a bit Rudolph red. It's very bright and sparkly. This one's nice.
It's a really lovely shade of red actually, because it's not that really bright garish Christmas red, is it? It's got like that hint of burgundy to it. It's really nice. Okay, so forequill. Why am I trying to go in the wrong door?
I don't know. There's one out if you want one.
Yeah, I'll use that one. Okay.
Can you hold that for a sec?
Yeah.
Because it's tacking.
So while that's heating up, should really do a background scan, shouldn't I? Should really. Or shall I just go for it?
Well,
If it's slightly off, it's slightly off, and just go for it.
if you want to.
Because then the drawn edge will just look like a nice little shadow effect, so I'll go with that.
Okay.
But what I am going to do, because I want it to do that X as well, let's turn on fill. And that's going to fill the X, the M, the A, the S. He's getting there. Be patient. Stop stopping your finger on it.
Unless things go mad for Christmas, Sandra, I might recommend ordering early just to get it so they have it if they want it. Because obviously we do them in first come first served basis, so they go in order of what they're ordered, don't they?
Yeah.
So if
Yeah.
we're trying to do quite a big push on it, aren't we? And trying to get sales up a little bit. So if they can afford it now, I would suggest.
Now and put it up.
Yeah.
Wrap it up nicely.
Because what we're on now, start of October.
Yeah.
Um,
So we've got orders.
Orders for next week.
8 to 12, is it next week?
Hopefully 8 to 13. He's hoping to get them all done, but it would depend on Beast. So
Yes.
8 to 12 probably by Friday.
So then any new orders will be next week.
Any new orders will be starting processing next week, yeah. Yeah, you can tell them we've said they need to.
We used to do gift vouchers, didn't we?
We still can to a certain extent.
Just not the same way as we used to.
We can because it's for Sum Up, so Sum Up would
Okay.
connect. And are you doing background scan, or are you just going to go for it?
I'm just going to go for it. Because that's in the right place for the foil shield anyway, because I
Yeah.
haven't moved it, have I? So,
No.
have I? No.
Well,
Fine.
if the
Go
inches
for
line up on both, no, you shouldn't have moved it at all.
Yeah, because it's well in of an inch, so it's fine, it's fine. Just go for it, Natty. Go for it. Let's see how it goes. I might lose a bit off the end of my ears. Just looking at that. Shall I do a quick scan? Oh, go on. Just because. Hi, Andy! How's Beast?
We managed to fix the cooling fan.
Yeah, he's behaving. So you can see it's just a little bit close. So I could nudge it that way and get away with it, but
Be alright.
be alright, you reckon? You heard that, didn't you?
Burning this afternoon, hopefully.
So we're just going to draw. And that's weird.
What?
That's not supposed to happen. I told it to fill and it filled the X, but it's not drawing it when I go to draw. That is weird. Just so interest, okay. And foiling doesn't do it, but it's definitely there when you think. That is weird. So what I will do in that case then is I will do the MAS and I'll come back and do the X after, and then can send that separately because I need that for
The other one.
Oh, I don't
You
actually.
don't, it's an M.
So I can do the MAS and be done with it. Okay, that's fine. Okay.
Okay.
So I'm going to go.
Sandy's ears were burning.
Okay. Cool. Off you pop. And just going to take that down 2 notches because it's the standard rather than the bold. Oh, it goes. We'll see how it goes.
The Beast is booked in for the season.
But yes, we're hoping to get some local stockists, aren't we?
We are. Yeah, so forewarning, Andy, that may be.
A few more orders. Because our good friend Shirley has opened up a crafty classroom.
Yes.
So if you are in the Upton, Pershore, Worcester, Droitwich, yeah, and you fancy
Bolton.
taking some sewing classes, and eventually we'll get round to doing some classes then too, won't we, sweetie?
Yeah.
That's Spider's moved.
Yeah, you've two on there.
There's two now. You're definitely getting around with the floor, are they?
Get over on that.
Dee, 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 dee. Let's have a look at that and check I'm happy with that.
Perfect.
Da, 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 da. Told you it's going to be slightly off. There we go. So let's see if I can get that X done as well.
And that's probably because it's the different mats though, isn't it? Rather than...
No, it's because they're in like different places, I think. But we will go with it. So I'm going to go to canvas and
You can change displays if you
let's
think
ungroup. Let me go big then. I'm going to lose your comments for a second, but I will be back. So on display, so you can see here how I set the document up. So because things are grouped, I just want to get a hold of that X there that's drawing. So I can hide everything else in that group and all the other groups. And those can go too, so that all I'm going to send is just that X. I can then send that to the machine via the internet. Okay. Now this is where I'm going to have to get a bit clever. Because it's offset it, I want my X to offset by the same amount. So I'm going to have to take my foil off temporarily. Don't throw it away, we can still use it.
Let's change back to overhead for a second.
Okay. So I'm going to go, okay, I'm going to go home to reset. I'm going to go to retrieve data. Bring that back down from the internet. I'm just going to take my foil coil out of the machine for a moment.
Great.
There you go, give it a wiggle. Okay, so we have our X here, and I'm just going to do a background scan because I need to underneath that foil. Okay, so with that in place, I can move my X over the top, and now we can use our zoom to make sure that we can line that up. So I'm going to zoom in through the move tool, and we've got our little four-way arrow. Oh, there we go. Okay, so I'm going to zoom down the page a bit so we can see where we're going. So while we're zoomed in, you can see there's our X, and we want it to line up in roughly the same way as our shadow does here. So it's over to the right and up a bit, so we can do that the same way. Otherwise it's just going to look a little odd if you've got one shadow going one way and one shadow going the other. So I'm just going to move across the screen just so I can check that that looks right. That's about right.
Don't change the fill line, it just looks like it's not fitting properly.
Probably not, because that's the same as what it is on there.
Okay.
So otherwise it won't look consistent. So that's the other important thing, make sure that your line fill width stays the same.
Oh, Laura's watching as well.
Hi Laura! Okay, so we can now go OK. I can get my foil back in.
Oh, change
Change camera.
I would do it, but I'm holding the important.
So we know that our X is over to the left and up a bit. Or down a bit, down a bit. So I'm just going to use that to kind of cover where it's going. And let's see how it goes. And it's going to pop the foil quill back in. I'm going to go OK and select my drawer. And let's give it a go and we'll see how it does. Warm one. Yeah, and my candy custard. That's close on that bottom.
That's enough. It's fine.
So, if you want to see Shirley's shop, you're looking for the Upton Stitchery, which is cool. So, for those of you that missed last night's stream, we did a stamp sale. So, if you want to go back and watch that, there's only 2 things that are now out of stock. Is that right?
Yeah.
So, the Googly...
Balls.
That was it, Googly Ghouls, and Carol's was...
It's there in front of you if you want to have a look. Next to it. Biscuits.
Ah, ready for packing. It is Christmas Magic is gone. That sounds depressing, doesn't it? The Christmas Magic is gone. Yeah. So I think after this is done, we will have to call it a day, and I will try and make those up at some point today. Now, we're not going to be available for a couple of hours, are we?
No.
Because Ian's looking awfully dapper today, aren't you?
But top half.
Yeah. Because you've got a video interview, so it doesn't matter about the bottom half.
I'm still reasonably dressed for the bottom half, but it's...
Smart casual is the way you term it, because he's smart on top and casual on the bottom. It always fights me back, this one.
Twist it.
It always tries to twist on me. Stop me.
Joey says, let's see.
Yeah, interview. So there we go. Ta-da! There's our foiling.
Thank you, Andy.
There we go. And we have our Christmas. And I was thinking of doing some sentiments like it's beginning to look a lot like. And then we've got our Noel to go back and finish as well. So I'll either do those on stream later, or I will pop them up as well a finished photo. But I'm working on a monster at the moment, aren't I? Speaking of which, while I remember, if you saw my advent calendar that I got from Silhouette and you went, oh, I like that, and then I told you how much and you're like, Yeah, I like it, but not that much. Then the good news is, if you go on GraphTech GB, that's right, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
GraphTech GB. They currently have it on half price.
You said it was half price, yeah?
So instead of being just under £40, it's now just under £20. So if you liked it, go and get it while you can. We're even considering getting another one because I'm enjoying it.
Thank you for all the good luck wishes.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Because it's another work from home one, isn't it? Which means
Possibly, or at least it's just Worcester, so it's
yeah,
close.
yeah. So fingers crossed. And with that, I will leave it at that, and I'll see you all tomorrow at 11. And if you haven't got one already, get a paper pad for tomorrow afternoon. So you need a 12 by 12 pad. And it does have to be a 12 by 12 because we're going to use at least one 12-inch wide strip for the cover. Okay, so take care and